This is Mr.
Hey, what's good, everybody? This is Ced Banner, and this is my review of DC's Shazam. So, as a avid film goer and as a huge DC fan, I was extremely excited to see this film. I've really been anticipating it, and was really happy to be able to go see it a couple of weeks early on today. And as an avid film goer and as a huge DC fan, I was also extremely nervous and not excited to see the film, because honestly, like all other DC fans, we've wanted DC just to get it together, man. Just to get it together. They've had some highs, but they've had more lows lately. And they got a win with Wonder Woman. They recently got a huge win with Aquaman. Aquaman, I think, was 10 times more successful than anybody expected. And it was a great movie. It really was. I mean, it wasn't anything where they tried to do more than they should have. They just went with the material they had and they nailed it, I felt like. But with Shazam, it was one of those things where I just felt like, okay, they're about to try to do too much and it's going to be extra goofy and they're about to kill all the momentum they've built. So yeah, went into this film very conflicted. So let me start off with casting here. I felt like Shazam himself, well, yeah, the hero Shazam was cast perfectly. After seeing this, I say that I didn't feel that way at first, but he is played by Zachary Levi, who I don't know what else he's been in other than a show that used to come on NBC called Chuck, and I didn't watch it, but that's the only thing I know him from. But he nailed it. When it comes to an adult playing someone who is actually a 14-year-old boy, he was extremely believable, and he nailed it. But when it was time for him to kind of shake that off and be a hero, he did great with that as well. Shazam the Wizard is played by Djimon Hounsou. Djimon Hounsou. I believe I'm saying that correctly. Not on screen a lot, but when he is, he's okay. Nothing special, but he's okay. The villain here, Dr. Savanya, is played by Mark Strong. If you're a fan of the Kick-Ass movies like I am, you'll know him from that. You'll know him from a lot of other stuff too, some smaller roles. But he is a veteran actor. He kills it. He does an awesome job, and I really like his storyline as well. Yeah, and there's a few more people in here, but once again, this is spoiler free, so I'm not going to mention them, and that's the only reason why I won't. As far as the plot here, the plot was great. I will say that while watching this film, a lot of times it felt like I was watching the actual comic, and that's a huge success, a huge win for DC. It starts off that way, and then a lot of different scenes feel like, once again, you're watching a comic on screen. But at the same time, not only that, the writing causes it to feel a lot like you're watching, I don't mean like cheesy Disney Channel, but I'm talking about, like, if you remember the feeling you got watching Home Alone as a kid, if you're in my age bracket, watching the Home Alone movies as a kid, it felt that way a lot of times, and I thought that was extremely cool to watch a film that kind of put you in that mindset and had that vibe while watching it now in 2019. And then I've said many times, one of the biggest reasons I'm such a huge and always have been a huge DC fan is they don't mind getting dark, and when they get dark, they will get dark. It's not like Marvel where it's like, oh, this is dark, but we're gonna move the camera, we're not gonna show you all that. DC will just, balls out. And they managed to do that here a lot in several scenes. There were a lot of scenes where we could hear other people in the screening kind of like, whoa, like it came out of nowhere. But it didn't feel out of place. And I was really shocked by that. But it worked together well. We went from dark to funny to, you know, heroic. It was just, it was a nice little fusion there on film. Pacing of the film I thought was very solid, very solid. There may have been a few points where it felt like it was kind of, you know, losing momentum, but usually when it got to that point, it would pick right back up with something great. The writing isn't extremely intricate, and I'm thankful for that, and I think most viewers will be, because that's where DC has messed up a lot recently. They'll try to do too much and lose everybody, and lose the vision that they had for that film in the first place. Shazam is very clear that they wanted to make a great, solid origin film and make a hero that is probably very little known to film goers who aren't huge comic fans, and make them fans of them. And I think this was done in a way to do that successfully. Visuals, the special effects, the cinematography and everything, it was cool. It was nothing groundbreaking. DC has been criticized a lot for poor use of CGI. I heard a few people complain about it in Aquaman, but most people appreciated Aquaman's work, or the work done in Aquaman. I appreciated it. I thought it was good enough. I'm not gonna call it, you know, just mind-blowing, but I thought it was good enough to make the film good. With Shazam, I felt like it was good enough. You know, I saw a lot of improvement, and I didn't see anything visually that, you know, ruined the film or the overall vibe of the film at all. As far as the action is great. They managed to, like I said earlier, there's a lot of scenes that get kind of dark, but they keep it lighthearted, but the action is hard hitting all the way through, you know, as it goes. I gotta say, DC may have kind of thrown me for a loop here, because, you know, I recently read that they were just going to concentrate on giving each individual character that they release from now on just their own thing, their own world, and not bother with trying to, you know, set them up for a combined universe. But Shazam is done in a way to where it's all the focus, while it is on Shazam. Cons for the film, the only cons I could give, I will say that, you know, while I realize the film is supposed to what's the word, I guess, kind of cater to children a lot and entertain them, because it is a child hero. Sometimes it got a little too corny with some of the jokes. Some of the scenes probably got too corny, that even, you know, so corny that even children will look at it like, yeah, whatever. You know, and I kind of expected that. So, but though they are cons nonetheless. But nothing to kill the film or kill the momentum of the film, thankfully. It could go in several directions, and that's all I'll say about that. But I like that. I like the way that it was done. There are a couple of surprises in the final act. I'll just say that. Definitely something to look forward to. With this being an early screening, of course, you know, nobody around me had been talking about it, so I didn't know, and I wasn't ready for it. Nobody in my screening was. So there were two different instances in the final act where everybody was just kind of like, oh, like this is cool. You know, and that's all I'll say. So yeah, look out for those. That'll really raise a good film to great for you, I think, if you are a fan. They great job with it. Yeah, and yeah, that's all I'll say. I'm kind of surprised that I enjoyed the film as much as I did, and that it was as good as it is. DC, I think, has found their stride, and this film just felt confident. It felt like, okay, they knew what they wanted to do, and they knew while they made it that they were nailing it. And they did an awesome job. So, yeah, that's all I'll say about Shazam. It is the second win in a row for DC. DC, like I said, they found their stride, and I hope they really keep it up and only improve. But Shazam should be the start of a very successful franchise, I believe. Of course, you know, if you're a little bit deeper into the whole Marvel DC thing, you realize that there's kind of a controversy and beef between Marvel and DC when it comes to you know, Captain Marvel. And of course, we just had Captain Marvel released, and it was pretty successful. It outdid projections, thanks, you know, people weren't expecting it, thanks to Larson. I won't talk about that, but yeah. So, you know, I'll do a comparison for you as far as which is better, because I'm sure a lot of people will ask that who haven't seen it yet. This was better than Captain Marvel, and I enjoy Captain Marvel, but Captain Marvel, like the same thing I said about Ant-Man, was a purpose film. It had a purpose, and it was just really there to kind of link and achieve something. That's how I felt about Captain Marvel, although I did enjoy it, but it wasn't flawless. This is leaps and bounds better than that. Leaps and bounds better. This is the Captain Marvel you're really going to want to see and enjoy. So that concludes this review of Shazam. Until next time, hey.